Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. I wanted to take a moment to make another video about this whole community of men that are on YouTube. Let me turn off the air conditioner. Okay, it's really loud. Yeah, so I wanted to talk about the black-pilled community, only because it's been requested by some people that I talk about it again, and this seems to have gained a lot of attention lately, on YouTube at least. I don't know. I don't ascribe to TikTok. Never will. But at least on YouTube, it seems to be that all these channels are kind of popping up left and right. People giving their testimonies, and maybe it's just that I'm noticing it more. But a lot of these channels I'm seeing are relatively new, so I think it might be more of a thing these days that everybody's kind of talking about it more with each other. So on one hand, I feel like it's beneficial to kind of air the grievances that you're going through, to share your story with others like you and gain support. On the other hand, I can almost see people looking at these videos as a way to feel better about themselves, to say, well, at least I'm not that guy, because it seems like the older you are, the more pathetic your title, the more views you get. And maybe I'm wrong, but and it's okay to feel that way. I know when I have low moments, I will look at autistic groups on Facebook and compare my son to other children that are far off worse than him as far as developmental, behavioral. The parents are just struggling horribly, and my heart goes out to these people. But on the other hand, sometimes shamefully I do go there to say, well, at least my son is not like that, so I can understand. But I've been watching a lot of these videos, a lot of different testimony from a lot of different people, because I'm kind of curious about the whole plight of the Zoomer male as a whole. The big picture. What has led us to this point? And it is multifaceted. There are things that can certainly exacerbate the problem. Social media usage at a young age, I think, because the Zoomers were kind of the start of that, and now it's ballooned with Generation Alpha. I mean, they are going to be the most miserable youth that we've ever known as they grow into adulthood. But I think there's a lot of people that have lost an element of social ability because of the internet and that wall, that virtual wall that you have between you and someone else. It is hard for young men to have a face-to-face conversation with a woman because they have so few experiences in day-to-day life. where they have a face-to-face conversation with a woman. And so every conversation with a woman becomes a potential for either validating their abysmal state or allowing them an opportunity to hope for something better, because hope is what we all need to keep going. So that's one problem. Another problem is expectation because of pornography. That a lot of these men, despite their circumstances, and I'm not talking about the whole sub-5 aspect, just that they might not be in the most... okay, let me adjust this. Okay, anyway, I should not even edit that out. Okay. Anyway, so in spite of the fact that, I mean, they consider themselves sub-5 humans, meaning that they're 5 or lower on the 1 to 10 scale of attractiveness. If you eliminate that aspect of it and just consider their haircut, whether or not they're shaving, whether or not they're wearing nice clothes, whether or not they walk confidently, you know, if you don't put effort into yourself, and I know there's this whole meme culture of like looks maxing, and I'm not saying that, and I'll explain why I don't agree with that necessarily, but to an extent, if you don't put yourself together on a daily basis, like if you go out in the world looking like a slob, if you wear your Captain America PJs to the grocery store, you can't expect to be approached by a woman who spent 8 hours getting ready in the morning. I don't do that. And I want to make clear to anybody in this community that might be watching this video, I want to make clear that there's this assumption that all women are just, you know, they have a line of chads waiting at their door. That they have options and they can choose from multiple guys. This is not the case. It might be the case for a girl who lives her life behind a filter on Instagram. And that's because that's how they make a living. They make a living selling you a dream. But all of that is fake. I mean, that's their looks maxing, so to speak, because they're selling you a dream, and you can't go out there looking like a slob that hasn't bathed in 3 days and expect to get a girl like that because that's what you're attracted to. And you're attracted to that because that's all you see when you're dialed into the corn and, you know, watching corn all day and night. You know, if you spend 8 hours looking at corn, you're not going to be looking at a girl that looks like me. I would not make it in the corn industry, but I would consider myself average. I mean, I'm 43, so you have to take that into account, but I have no makeup on. I don't wear makeup. And there's a reason for that. Is the same reason why, you know, you should present yourself the way you want to be perceived, but don't present yourself outside of who you are. And so, like, when I went out, when I was trying to impress a guy, I will dress nicely and I would wear makeup. I mean, this was back, you know, when I dated. But there was an expectation for that. If I showed up in pajamas, I mean, I think that the person I was dating would feel disrespected. So I guess that's more of how I'm trying to... These are complicated things to try to explain. But that doesn't mean that I'm taping my face back and like doing those eyelid stickers that make your eyelids go up so your eyes look like my eyelids aren't hooded, and sculpty stuff on my nose, and like changing the whole shape of my face. It doesn't mean I'm wearing even something subtle like there's body binders, like it's a full body tight suit that kind of tucks everything in and makes it all smooth so it doesn't look like I have, you know, little, I mean, I'm wearing a very loose shirt, but you know, if I'm wearing something tight, I have this, you know, little bit of stuff here. And women wear these slimming garments that eliminate that. Or padded bras, the great deception. Like women wear those padded bras that have this thick padding. Let me show you something. I can't find it. I might have gotten rid of it because I haven't worn it for years, but I got a push-up bra because of the type of dress I was wearing. And the bra, okay, this is just a regular bra, but I had to I needed a visual. So the bottom of the inside of the cup, the bottom here, like this whole section here was a big like jelly thing in here, so that it like shoved my boobs up to give me like, I mean, this isn't really good in the type of shirt I'm wearing, but it like, you know, shoved them up to give me like, pushed them together and shoved them in and up to give me a cleavage, you know, bigger cleavage. And I mean, that's a deception. So imagine you as a man seeing this girl with these you know, boobs that look like that, and you're in your head thinking that's how they're gonna look when you take all the clothes off, and they're not. So I think that those areas are traps, because there's a benefit to self-improvement, but I don't think you need to do that specifically for the sake of attracting a partner, because then you're not being who you are. So either you're committing to lying to your partner for the rest of your life, or you're committing to getting in a relationship with someone and then disappointing them over and over and over again as they realize that all the things that they thought you were all a front. Now, we do that I mean, we all mask to some degree in the beginning of a relationship, but there's masking and then there's like genuine deception. And maybe deception's a hard word, because I think we're all just trying to do the best we can to identify and connect with somebody. But if you're not true to yourself, then you can't ever be true to yourself without letting that person down. So you kind of have to accept your shortcomings with your advantages. The thing I want to stress, though, that a lot of, I'm getting back to this point, I'm sorry, I'm trying to make a point. The thing that a lot of men perceive about women, and this might because of be because of the Tumblr, I mean not Tumblr, Tinder culture, and all those like swiping apps for hookups. But women who are genuinely out there to look for a committed relationship and not just sleep with every guy that they come across that they're attracted to, like actual normal women, are not all attracted to Chad type men. I am not, because my normal is not going to be on the same par of expectation as a man like that. Someone who is really like tall, slim, athletic, they're going to want to be with a partner that has those same level of interests. So naturally, they are going to end up with a woman who is also slim, athletic. Maybe height is not the situation, but it ends up that way because they're sharing like interests. And I'm not talking about who you sleep with. I'm talking about who you marry. Because who you sleep with is inconsequential when you don't know who they are. Like, don't give your body away to a woman or a man. If you're a woman watching this, don't give your body away to somebody you don't even know. I mean, it comes from experience. I regret those decisions the most. Your body is your temple, and anything you do to improve yourself should be for yourself. So that if you are improved as a person, you're doing it because you want to present yourself to the world as the person you're changing into, not because you're trying to attract a partner. And that's hard to do when you're abysmally lonely. I get it. But that's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is that y'all think, the guys now mostly, that women are only attracted to one kind of man. Tall men with a lot, like full head of hair and a good body. And I can tell you, I am not that person. And I've been around men. Like, one of my closest friends, until he moved away, he moved to Maryland, but we used to work together. And he was this tall, super athletic guy. He wanted to be a cop. He was young, attractive. You know, I could definitely tell you he was attractive. He was definitely Chad, you know. And I felt very comfortable being friends with him because I wasn't attracted to him at all. So there was no awkwardness. There was no like tension of any sorts between us. Like, he was not attracted to me. I was not attracted to him, but we were great friends. And that was fine. But so it's not for lack of exposure. I could have easily been, you know, had some fantasy about us together, but I'm telling you, I swear to you, those men are not attractive to me. They never have been. I have always been more drawn to the nerds because I am one. And so personality, like, I wouldn't even know what to talk about if it were. The fact that I identify with that Chad guy is because he liked Marvel. Now Marvel's like normie territory, and I'm not really into it anymore like I used to be. But back then that was a thing we identified with because he kind of dipped into the nerd culture, because back then that was nerdy. I swear it was. Not, you know, you Zoomer types probably don't remember those days, but once upon a time, comic books weren't movie assets. They were very niche and for very nerdy people, and they were normal people picked on us comic book nerds. But I found myself most comfortable around nerds, and thus most attracted to, as friends and as in relationships, with nerds. With my second husband, which I have a video that kind of highlights the type of person he was, I did leave my normal type, I guess you would say, to marry him because I was looking for someone to take care of me, basically. I was 20, 21. He was 20 years older than me. Daddy issues, obviously. It didn't work. You know, we were together for over 10 years, but eventually I grew into myself and realized who I was, and we had nothing in common, and I was not attracted to him. But the people I am attracted to, and you know, the people I end up being in relationships with, are usually there's features about them that other people may not be as drawn to. And I think it's important to also identify that when you as a man are trying to find a woman, that you can't expect to have everything else fall into place if you're physically attracted to a woman. And maybe you're just looking for someone to have sex with, and that's as far as your thoughts have gotten, because there's so much fear around the idea of committing to a marriage because of all the potential for fallout. And that's why it's important to select a person that you know you have the same values with. And so if you're faking who you are, masking who you are that far into a relationship where you don't even have an idea of what you both would want if you would get into if you would get married, like how many kids you would want, where you would ultimately want to live, what type of, like, do you want a farm, do you want a city house, do you want a cottage, all these dreams and expectations should line up. And if they don't, you cannot expect them to change these core values to some degree. I mean, maybe you can change your mind about having kids as you get older, but it's just important to not fool yourself to think that things will get different, that they'll change or you'll change, if you don't like them to begin with and you're just trying to be with them because you don't want to be alone. So I think a lot of women are more willing to match up with people out there that don't think that they are in that category that qualify them as a Chad. I think there's a lot of workable area, even for someone that might consider themselves sub 5, and I think that's really subjective. Yeah, I've had a lot of thought about this, and I just don't really know how to clearly explain what I'm trying to explain, and so this is so rambly, and I am sorry for that, but I just get frustrated when the assumption is just like, oh, all women just want the tall jocks. That's so my life is, because I'm shorter or because I don't have hair or anything like that. It's like you just don't want to try because you don't think you're worth it. And you don't think women are ever going to like you because you all just assume all women want the same kind of man. And I'm telling you that's not the case. So maybe I am not the majority. I don't know. But I've talked to a couple women about this, and I think all of them are kind of in the same consensus, that type of man is not always the expectation of what we want. I prefer to be with a man who is a little heavier in weight, like has a bit of a belly. Then that's just what my taste is. So, the point I want to make is that don't expect more from the person that you're trying to partner with than what you're willing to give. But don't give more than who your sincere self is willing to be. And don't expect that the effort will end in failure. And don't expect sex right away. Like, make the effort to get to know the person you're talking to. And I don't mean buy them everything and take them everywhere and wow them, because you can't maintain that. So don't even do that. Because if a woman expects that from you now, she's going to expect that from you for the rest of your life. And if you can't maintain that for the rest of your life, you should not do that now. Do not romanticize who you truly are. I hope this is helpful, because this is the most discombobulated effort I've ever made to explain something in a video. I will do another video soon, now that I've gotten this off my chest. I don't want to keep talking about this because it's not my place. And I want to make that clear to anyone out there who is struggling with this. I'm looking through a lens, I'm looking through a window into a home that I don't own. I know that. I am on the outside looking in, but that doesn't mean that I can't have compassion or concern, genuine concern about what is going on. For the sake of this entire country, for one, but also for the sake of personally in my home, because I have 2 sons who are growing up through this generation. I mean, the other one is Generation Alpha, and God help him. But my older son is 5'8", so I have a vested interest and a genuine concern. And so don't think I'm just here espousing my opinion for clicks and views. I mean, that's never been my interest. I just make videos when the mood draws me to. So, yeah. I think we'll leave it there. Bye!